Welcome. Happy Friday, Pat. What's my rate, McMasters? What's going on?
Hey, Rick, how you doing? Just busy at the office here, just cranking away.
All right, sounds like a party. Well, we're here for our millions and millions of viewers. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I've read and some of the things that you're looking at and see if we can make sense of any of it. And if it doesn't make sense, I'm 100% sure somebody will tell me.
Oh yeah, no doubt,
That
for
tends to
sure.
that tends to happen. So I'm going through um, Cromford Market commentary, and a comment was made that that new listings have increased by about 6% versus last year. Not total listings. In fact, I'm going to put the ticker across the bottom here and show people what's going on. I didn't update the mortgage rate there. Let me do that for a second. What is today's prevailing rate? 6.27.
6.29 is based on Mortgage News Daily, the rate that they've got
Okay,
up there.
there we go. It's accurate now. We're over 24,000. Last week we were not. So what is going on? Let's take a quick gander at this. Looks like I got somebody in the chat. Here's Happy Friday. Thank you very much, Jessica. Good to have you on here. So I'm going to share my screen here as soon as I figure it out. This is my 7-day moving average, and the yellow map there, that's new listings. So I take new listings back on market. That hasn't changed much. It's about
Yep.
700 homes. And then I subtract canceleds and expireds. Well, we had a lot of canceleds because it was, or expireds because of the first of the month. That has rolled off now because we're, past the first. And so look at what's happened with new listings. They've really taken a jump up. And what that says is that, you know, people that took their homes, let their homes expire or canceled them over the summer are deciding that they're going to go ahead and jump back in. And but you can see on the black line there, that's the number of new contracts. Now that it's not moving. It's still at 2,600, 2,700. So it's not rates have come down. So there's a lot of chatter inside and outside the industry, kind of saying, well, we've already hit the bottom of the market. Here we go. Here we go. From my desk, I don't see it yet.
Yeah.
I'm seeing right here that this is active listings. They went up just a little bit, and they'll go up by about another 500 this week when this chart's updated next week. So that's going up, but not much. Here is new listings year to date that shows that we've had 75,000 new listings this year versus 60,000, 69,000 last year. But to temper that, you got to go in and do the math and pull out the expireds and the canceled. So it looks like we're throwing a lot more new listings on the market, but they're not sticking. This here is, our Cromford market index, and this shows you by city anything over 110 is considered a seller's market, and anything below that, below 100 is considered a buyer's market, or around 100 is balanced. And we're seeing a bunch of them that have popped up. Now, the reason that they popped up, Pat, is that active listings were going down. So it made more of an advantage for sellers. Now it's starting to reverse that trend a little bit because active listings are starting to go up. So you're not going to see as much green as we have seen. Now Gilbert's improved. They were down to about, I think, well, here we showed 96 last month, and they're at 110. Chandler's back up again from 117 to 128. If you subscribe to my newsletter, the link is down below. You'll get this in the newsletter, this chart. You can take a look at it, and you can also see their commentary that we have here. So it's they're kind of being very cautious and going, kind of looks like maybe it's a little bit of a turnaround for sellers, but it's too early to tell. And this is why. I mean, take a look at pending listings, which is the red number here. Week after week, just like last year. There's no difference. Just,
Yeah.
oh, there's a dot last year. Let's match that dot. So now I look at pending, and then I look at listings under contract. Same damn thing. Week
That's crazy how
after
it
week.
tracks from last year.
Yeah, it's not moving at all. And now this is trying to take a look at seller concessions. And I thought I'd look at it by price point. And you can see here that the largest one on this graph shows 69% of homes in the 350 to 400,000 range are offering seller concessions on an average of $10,650. That's the
Yep.
active one. But even you go up higher, you're still sitting at 65%, 60% at anything between 500 and 600,000. So there's a lot of giving away going on out there. Grace here's got a question. Says, do you think the lower rates will really get buyers to jump in when the affordability is so squeezed? I think my short answer is no. I'll kind of touch on that for a minute. I Rates going down definitely going to help buyers. Rates going down in the meantime, especially going into September now, when sellers were thinking about putting their homes on the market anyway, have more incentive to do it now because they're thinking, okay, well, maybe the buyers are going to come out, so they're relisting their homes. But I don't think it's going to be. I don't think we're going to see a rush to the gates.
Yeah.
To look. Do you, Pat? I mean, are you seeing that, feeling that?
Not really. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a rush. I mean, people, if you look at rates, I mean, they're in the high sixes for the scenario that I usually present, the $475,000 purchase. Where rates were at 6 and 7/8 range. I mean, the number that I look at right here on the computer at 6 and 7/8, your principal and interest would have been like, I'm just saying, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but $3,100, 3,107 for principal and interest for 475,000 on purchase, 5% down. But if you right today, you can get in the low sixes. They've obviously slowly and quietly come down to so that same at 6 and 1/8. You're looking at, let's say you get 6 and 1/8, maybe use a little discount points to buy the rate down, 28.85. So you're looking at what 115, 120 a month difference. I don't think it's gonna. There's gonna be probably a set of buyers like, okay, rates have settled down. I can afford it back at 6 and 7/8. Now they're cheaper. I'll buy. But from affordability, it hasn't really solved this dramatic affordability issue. It's not like they went down where your payment changed by say $400, $500, $600.
And it's going to take a payment change like that at least to get buyers back in. I think. Let me acknowledge Shark here. Thank you very much. I'm doing quite well. Thank you.
Yeah, he's doing
Um,
well. But
so
I think Rick. I mean, there's gonna be a subset of people like that have been able to afford it, but they're like, okay, rates have come down. I like where there's that could be a subset. Like I like it in low sixes. You can get into high fives in some cases. Obviously, with depends on your loan program, your interest rate, how much you're putting down, the loan amount. There's 5 or 6 different factors that go into obviously pricing a loan. Is it going to push everybody over? We're going to have this mass crazy buying market. I just don't. I feel bad because the affordability issue is still there. There's no
well, we're
doubt.
about 2,650 contracts every 7 days. I think we'll get up to 2,800 as we start getting towards the end of September and October for two reasons. One, rates are coming down seasonally. People are out more. It's not hot. It's not a bad. October's garage sale season in Phoenix, so
Well, let me jump in. I mean, I think certainly rates coming down from high sixes to low sixes is going to certainly spur some conversations around the coffee table.
yeah.
But I mean, once again, if you took a pool of 100 people, how many percentage of those people are saying, I still can't afford it with, because you're not just talking to insurance, you're talking insurance, taxes, everything else that's rolling into it.
Well, Jessica, you're saying can't get a bite on their house in the West Valley. They've dropped the price 400,000 or 40,000. You dropped it 400,000, you'd have no problem.
Yeah.
But I pulled up here too. This is interesting to me. This is price changes per week, price cuts, and notice how they've gone down. You got down to summer here in August, and the price cuts continue to decline. I just think the August heat just made everybody go, well, if I got to cut it, I'll cut it, in September. But for now, let's just leave it
Yeah.
here, and
Yeah.
let's just wait and see what happens. And wait and seeing what happens hasn't been working out too well for people. I did a zip code report here for Peoria at the request of one of our, and that's let me show you the You can, if you're watching this on TV, you can scan this QR code, and that's supposed to show up, but it's not showing up. I'll show you in a minute. Um, there's It's a pretty good report. So it gives you an overview on the housing market, shows you the rental rate trends by zip code, market drivers, economic demographic. So when you get into that, you just tell me your zip code and I'll get this right out to you. Sometimes you get it that night, sometimes you get it the next morning. But unlike people that, well, let me put this way, I don't charge you $39 a month for that data. So let me see if I'm using a different program here and it's not giving me the um, putting up. Oh yeah, there it is up in the left-hand corner. Finally showed up, and on the bottom, that's the data store. For those of you who watch this on television, hold up your phone, click on the data store, and I will send you a zip code report. So I'll leave that up for a moment. So this coming week, Pat, this is when the Fed gets together. What, the 17th?
Yep, on Tuesday they get, or Wednesday they make their federal decision. I mean, I think they're getting together Tuesday and Wednesday, 2 days. So Wednesday they're going to come out with the decision. Wednesday, and this is also the time. This is the month that they come out with a dot plot. So you're going to have kind of projections of where they think rates are going to go. And now they're projecting obviously three interest rate cuts. I was seeing something on one report that I saw that on my market update that if it was two cuts or only that's certainly going to be a little negative for the market. So there's going to be definitely some volatility in the interest rates this week. Wait and see. But I'm pretty much cooked into the books, into the market that we're going to see some type of rate cut, probably a quarter. Um, I'll pat myself on the back. I will say, remember, I've been barking the last 3-4 months about how September, October was definitely going to be interest rate move,
Yeah.
and it's kind of going along with the track that I have been kind of looking at. So,
Well, here's what the Cromford Market Index is showing us. It's starting to increase, and that's what they're talking about. Saying, it's starting, and that's just a measurement of supply and demand. So you got to take that and you got to look at other numbers as well. This isn't necessarily an indication, ooh, things are great, here we go. Because remember, here's 2023. So it came up. It didn't take long for it to change reverse course. So, of course, that was all rate driven as well. So, we just watch and see it. I'm not a pessimist. What I'm observing is I'm not seeing anything that says, buckle up, get out, get off the fence. Here we go. I'm not seeing any of that. Absolutely none of it. And you're seeing rates kind of just staying where they were, right?
yeah, I mean, they've been pretty much kind of, I mean, even the market report today, it says, mortgage rates, this MBS live right here, mortgage rates, these are some of the headlines. Mortgage rates were flat all week, no matter what other news suggests. The other topic was mortgage rates tick slightly higher, but maintain this week's range. They're low sixes, 6.25, 6 1/8, right around there. But I mean, you see this trend, as you can tell, that we've been in this. This is what I've been kind of talking about. I mean, you look at the downward trend here, really since about January. We had obviously a tough May when rates went up here. But then since about May, we've seen this slow staircase climb down, quite quietly while the Fed has just been kind of behind the scenes. So, I mean, it's
So if they go down a quarter a point, that chart's not going to budge at all, is it?
no, I mean, that's the thing is that actually what people don't understand is that what they do next week. That's why I watch the 10-year Treasury versus what the Federal Reserve is going to really be doing, because that is going to be the key. As far as what mortgage rates and the Federal Reserve, like we saw last September, where they cut and actually rates went up. But it's a key point. I think this time is different. As I talked to you, I think I talked to you the other day. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, be careful," because obviously rates could spike after they make their cut, which they did in September. But I think going back to last September, the 10-year Treasury, after the Federal Reserve cut, that 50 basis points, rates spiked up. I think that was the market saying, the Fed, you just don't have it right yet.
Yeah.
You just don't have it right yet. But now there's definitely been more of a subdued reaction the last couple months, and they've been slowly coming down. It might be a different reaction this time because now they know with the job reports, the feds are looking at this job reports. Obviously the million jobs, the fake jobs that they had. So I think this time might be a little different. And this trend that I've been seeing since about May, and I've been talking about this. Like I said, I've been talking about this last 3-4 months. I said September, October. I think we're going to see some rate relief, which we have, and I think we're going to see a little more rate relief. Might not be. It just might be a staircase climb downward, which is good because I don't want to see anything rates drop from 7 to 5.5 in 2 weeks. It just doesn't do anybody any good.
No, and I don't want to see a rush getting out there. I don't want to see interesting. Now you're hearing about the president claiming a housing emergency, and nobody really knows what that's going to mean. I can tell you that whatever it means, it's not going to affect anything for quite some time because most of it's going to be focused around building and cost of materials. So, and then building on federal land. Well, where's the federal land in the Phoenix Valley? They're, not going to give up Papago State Park I mean,
And
we don't have any federal land. So,
anything
uh,
that anything they're proposing is just it's not going to be something that's going to solve anything short term. That's for damn sure.
yeah, yeah.
You
Now,
know, it's just,
they
you
go,
know,
we're from the government. We're here to help. I think the jobs report, I mean, my God, how can you be off by a million jobs? Oh, yeah, we had to revise that.
it's
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 like,
it's
no
quite
wonder
frankly,
that
it's
person.
embarrassing. I mean, I'd be embarrassed if I was a BLS or I'd be in the government. I'd be embarrassed as hell. Saying, "Oh, oh, sorry, we missed it by about a million jobs." I mean, I
Yeah.
don't. How in the
And
hell do we miss?
here's our new estimate.
Yeah.
It's something like they the number of respond they only survey 1% of
Well,
businesses, and of
that's
that
that's the
one
thing.
percent that they survey, only 35% respond.
Well, you wonder if they respond because of maybe the immigration. Maybe there's something behind that. I mean, I never trusted these BLS numbers because once again, I've said this repeatedly over the last couple of years. It's a survey. You think that with our technology that we would have something more up to date that people could fill in quickly to get a more accurate number.
Yeah, and some of the surveys that they send out are by fax.
Oh, really?
Fax machine. I mean, who's gonna fill that out and put that? People they'll. How many people are you hiring this month? Send it to me on a phone app. I'll go 2-0.
Yeah.
Biden
I
jobs
don't.
report turns out to be all fake as predicted. It's government math here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know whatever the reason is, it's just not accurate, and we need accurate information, or just you know quit counting it. I mean, it's just
I can't figure out why with our, like I said, once again, with our technology that we have AI and all this technology that we can't develop a system that's actually going to give us a fairly accurate jobs report. It's
well, it's
embarrassing.
everything you see in the government. Their computers are really old, except when you get to certain parts of national defense. But even air traffic controllers, their software is outdated, and so they gotta. And I agree with you. If we get AI coming in, speaking of AI, I read a report this morning talking about how Open Door, whose stock has been really volatile, it was like it got above $10 yesterday and back down to 9.5 today, and said that they're looking at the integration of artificial intelligence into their business model. Well, one of the reports said, well, for them to integrate AI at the goal that they say they have for it, that's going to cost them a lot of money, and that's going to hit their bottom line. So is this really going to help them? And quite honestly, from my desk, how's AI going to help you as a company when your job is to give offers, to you, Pat, for me to buy your house? And I'm going to use artificial intelligence to come up with a value for your house. Now, they were offering too much and then selling them at a loss, and that's when business was really good, 2021. Now they're forced to come in and offer you an even lower amount that you're probably not interested in at all. Like, I'm
Hmm.
not going to sell it to them because they got to turn it and make a profit. Well, tell me how AI is going to help that. So I
Yeah.
don't know what it is that they're looking at as investors and saying, "Oh, this is great." They're jumping in and going to AI. So that's just my little soapbox. Even ADTP jobs had fake illegal immigrants in the numbers. It's a messy bowl of soup. I think I'm looking at AI and the effects on real estate, and we're in its infancy right now. I just think it's going to speed things up. I don't think it's going to replace people. I don't think it's going to give us fewer title people, fewer loan officers, fewer realtors. It's just going to take the processes and say, okay, you'll be able to do this portion of your job twice as fast, if not 5 times faster in some of the things. So I think we'll see that, and the people that know how to use it will be able to handle more business. Got a comment here that says any data from BlackRock majority owned business is favors the Biden administration. So, I don't know. I don't really get into that stuff. I mean, we can kind of beat that to death, but I just my point is every time these jobs reports come out, you just kind of have to yawn at it and go, okay. But
Well, I
because
think
here,
that, and that's, what we saw the market the last several years, how the market reacted several years ago to inflation numbers. And then we went into the job reports. They kind of put more emphasis on that. And we saw the market reacted. Now you're seeing such a muted response sometimes to these reports. It's absolutely amazing.
I'm going to show you a chart here, and it's going to show you, I'm going to select the years of 2019, which is pre-pandemic, last year and this year, number of sales. And again, look at that number on the bottom there. It's just following it. But look how much lower we are compared to pre-pandemic levels. These are sales per year. I mean, we're not budging. We're slightly above. We were sitting here at 70,000. That's not 70,000. Must be 70 million, 72. So anyway, from 70 to 72, it just stuck. We seem to have liked last year and said, well, it's just comfortable. Let's stay there. Um, I want. I'm going to be following. Well, I follow it every day anyway. So I'm looking and saying, is this uptick that we're seeing in new listings, is this going to continue? Because the back on market number didn't really go up, Pat. People taking their listing off and then putting it back on the market in less than 45 days, that number hasn't jumped. If you take your home out the market for 45 days, it shows up as a new listing, not a back on market. So we're not seeing people that fired the agent, got another one, and put their house back on. We're seeing people that waited all summer and said, okay, now we'll give it another try. How long will they hang in there? Probably till Thanksgiving. If they don't get the movement, they're going to take them off.
Yeah.
As a seller, you know, September, October is a good time to list normally, but we don't have a normal. We can't even use a normal word anymore.
We haven't had a normal market in the last 5 years, Rick. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to use that number because normal
What is
listing,
normal?
well, statistically, 27,000 listings.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not there. We've had an increase in population, so maybe normal is 30,000. But what's normal sales? Well, I don't know, but I can tell you that record low sales is 2,700 a week. Well, newsflash, that's where we're at. So as people are saying, oh, it's going to get really bad. Look, sales are already bad, but there's a healthy enough number in that bad number to where houses that are priced right in certain areas are still moving. So it's not bleak. It's just, yeah, we've had a crash in transaction volume. We haven't had a crash in pricing because that gap is too tight
Yeah.
between the number of listings that we have and the number of contracts we have. If I try to pull up my Cromford Market Index and look at the supply versus demand chart, and this is kind of a hard one to see because I don't have my handy dandy magnifying glass anymore. I love that little feature. I could put a big circle around this, but right on the end here, the top number, blue, is supply, and it's coming down. This only gets updated once a month. It's not going to get updated till next week. That's going to go up. And the sales number is going to go flat. So pricing is all predicated only on one thing, the gap between these two numbers.
Yep.
That gap closes, there's more pricing pressure on the upside. That gap widens, there's more price pressure on the downside, right? Like
The blue number
here,
is what? The blue number again is what?
supply.
Okay. Yeah.
So back here, when these numbers were up here, this is showing the Cromford report where they've shot through the moon back during the great financial crisis. We had 57,000 listings and we weren't selling anything here. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So it's not the number per se, even though the selling number is low, it's the activity between the two. That's my short real estate economic lesson I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express once. Um,
Well, but it's you're very right though. It's all supply and demand. That's what it boils down to.
yeah, the major reduction in the price of fuel will bring down cost of build, but the cost of labor with deportations will flatten that effect. Any of those things that are going to have a factor on new builds, the new builds right now they're pulling back. So I think they're pulling back. They're pulling back because they have a lot of inventory. I think I read they have in the valley here somewhere almost like 7 months of inventory. I can't in the data that I look actually pull that up. I've
Hmm.
tried looking in the public report and stuff, but that's a lot, and that's why it's affecting places like Buckeye and Maricopa. You know, when you look at that chart here, I mean, they're the ones that are getting hurt the most when it comes to the CMI. See Maricopa at 47 and Buckeye at 51. Buyer's market. It's hard to sell a house if you got a house down there. So you're going to have to be priced very aggressively and have a pool because most of the new builds don't put in a pool. But um, I think I lost my train of thought there. But so new builds they're
Not
pulling
like
back.
me.
Yeah, yeah. Here goes the train. They're pulling back, and maybe they're pulling back so they can start getting rid of some of their inventory. But maybe they're also pulling back in the hopes that some of their material costs come down as well. Because we're negotiating aggressively with Canada. We'd like to get a better deal on Canadian lumber.
Yeah,
Couldn't tell you whether that's going well or going poorly. I don't know. And Jessica says here that new builds is our competition. It is, and it always will be. But I'm seeing on my end they're offering us higher and higher commissions to bring a buyer into their office. Used to be they'd offer you 2%. Now they're offering us 4. Bring us a buyer, bring us a buyer. And
yeah,
now, if you want an agent to help you in a new build community, don't forget you got to go in and register your agent the very first trip. You can't go in, make one trip, 2 trips, and go, hey, can I bring my agent? Because they'll tell you no. So
yeah, yeah.
I've had requests for that, and it's because they pay us, and so if you want some help with that, reach out. And Jackie and Ruby are very involved with new builds, and so's Jessica. I like catching up with them to find out what they're seeing on the street, but it's aggressive with pricing, but they're pulling back on what they're giving you just a little bit. They're not giving you the quite the concessions that they were. So they're in wait and see mode. But I think their books close out. I think the end of October. So again, there goes October, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
better laws against house HOA price increase will help home builders. Some of their HOA fees are pretty stinking high. I got to agree. I don't know how they solve that through laws or just solve that through supply and demand. Um, it's every law that they pass has some kind of unintended consequences. So I'm not sure that's a workaround, but some of them are originally high because they're building the infrastructure around the community. So they're trying to get the money there to help put in all the infrastructure they need, like the parks and the lights and stuff. So what's interesting to watch is Airbnbs in the valley. Now I've tracked vacant listings on the MLS. They haven't budged.
Yeah,
The number stayed the same all year. I would think that an Airbnb would be listed as a vacant home. So if we were dumping Airbnbs on the market, that number would go up. I haven't seen it.
yeah.
I've seen a lot of grumbling and a lot of possible changes going out there to try and regulate them a little bit more. I keep looking to my left here. I'm in a RV resort, and there's a great big motorhome pulling in next to me. It's so fun to sit and watch these people back these things up,
I can imagine.
especially if it's a travel trailer. Mine's a travel trailer. Some people have these fifth wheels, and I tell people don't give me hand signals. They mean nothing to me. If you're in the back and you're going to the right, to the right. Well, do you want the front of my truck to go to the right or the back, or what are you telling me? Left, left, back. Hold it straight. And I sit here and I just watch these hand signals. Just grab a beer, sit at the picnic table, and go, okay, it's happy hour. People are pulling in. So
That's
Stark here
funny.
says, I purchased my own land to avoid HOAs. The neighborhoods without HOAs are out there. You got to look for them.
Yep.
Found one for a client in Awatuki, of all places. I thought there's no way, and lo
Well,
and behold, there it was.
I'm in Chandler. Mine, I don't have it. I'm northwest corner of Chandler, and I don't have an HOA, which is nice. So,
Yeah, you can raise chickens.
yeah, not quite, but so
Yeah, you don't have horse property or anything.
no,
So, so what else have we got coming out next week besides just the Fed meeting? Isn't there CPI coming out as well?
no. We got next week. We've got basically show you the calendar. Just Tuesday, we've got retail sales. Wednesday, we've got the let me just pull it up here. Fed interest rate decision, the economic projections, the dot plots, and then really that's pretty much about it for the week. We got jobless continued claims, jobless claims coming out Thursday. So I think Tuesday, Wednesday are going to be the spark amongst all the the markets.
Or the big snooze?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you look at it once again, look at the chart. Look at pull up this chart again. I mean, once again, the Treasury has just been acting really from, like I said, May, just slowly climbing down, which is a good thing. So I'm anticipating, based on some of the people, the commentary that I'm seeing on some of these that I get. This one guy I follow, Hammer, he says rates will probably improve. It's just going to take some more time.
So
And
you don't see, and I don't see anything that's going to put upward pressure on rates.
now the honest answer, my answer that comes to the top of my head right away is no. I mean, the trend, they always say the trend is your friend. So nothing has been broken, you know, to see that otherwise. So,
Well, I was kidding. I did send you a Facebook video this week where I was poking fun at a couple of guys, and the lender said, "Well, the rates have come down this month in September, and they came down last time in September, but then they went up, and rates are down now, and they could continue to go down, and they could go up." That's boy, that helps.
yeah, at least we're trying to give people some data, some chart, some actual charts to show some actual information.
When sellers are canceling listings, I equated it with a stage of grief about housing prices falling denial. I fully expected listing
To gain
gain
momentum.
momentum to return. I think I don't see you're going to see any listing gain momentum until there's some measured success. In other words, when we start seeing improvements in months of supply and the word gets out. I think the listings that you're seeing right now that are coming on are just people that took it off for the summer. And so they just come on. I mean, it's really the new listings that I track here have gone up maybe 300, 300 homes
Yeah,
over 7 days. That's not a lot. I'm sitting here. We were tracking at about 2,800, 2,900. Now we are 3,275. And that's taken place in a 2 week period. But we've been there before, but not until before summer. We were there in May. So May 21st, 3,270. So those are the people that took their homes off the market and now they're back. Tim, you're saying hi, Tim. Welcome back. I see a lot more homes coming on as rentals. I see that too. I think some of them are going to be very disappointed that they're not going to get the rental rate that they hope because we're getting more and more rentals. It's not really an oversaturation or anything yet, but the rental market, especially if you're competing closer to downtown Phoenix, that market's oversaturated with what they call luxury rental units, and
yeah,
so their vacancy rate is through the roof. But some of the other areas, surprisingly, Chandler I would call stable, Gilbert pretty stable, about to be saturated. But Tempe, nope. You go to Tempe and their rental rates, vacancy rates are pretty tiny. And that includes both apartments and single family houses. So, and here we got a comment here by Jessica says, Town by Homes is listing their rentals for sale. That's interesting. Well, that's an indication that they're not getting the rental rates that they wanted to, and so they're just going to try and upload some inventory. That's the thing that I was watching about Open Door was I thought somebody's going to buy them because they had, I think it was something like 2.7, $2.4 billion in inventory in their houses. Now, if you buy Open Door, you're going to buy their debt as well, right? So
Hmm.
what are you going to do with those 2.4 billion houses? Just hold on to them and then wait to get rid of them to maybe offset some of the debt you have because you're not going to have a fire sale because then you're just going to increase your debt. I just didn't see them getting out of that failed business model. Um, has there been any purchase application growth over the past 12 months? I saw something by calculated risk on that this morning.
I mean, it's
Um,
on our end, from our standpoint, we're seeing, steady influx. It's just not this mass, this mass rush. You're seeing just trickle in. You're seeing them coming in. Like you said, I think the people that were sitting there on the sidelines waiting for rates to come down a little bit to give them a little more relief. But once again, they've come down. It gives you a couple $100 a month relief. But is it something that's going to give that new first time home buyer that really can't afford it yet? That's like they're still out of the market.
yeah, I read that mortgage applications were up slightly.
Oh,
Refinance applications were up pretty good, something like 5 or 6%. And I read that Q2 um, HELOCs, taking money out of your home, those numbers declined versus Q1. So there was some money being sucked out of the equity, but then it just kind of stopped. Um,
yeah. I
got
mean, the refinance applications have certainly gone up. I think from my personal standpoint, I've got people obviously could do refis for, but in my heart of hearts, I just with rates the trend being downward, I don't want to refi somebody at 6.25, and then all of a sudden 2 or 3 months later, like, oh, rates have slid down into 5 and 5/8, 5 and 3/4 range. Because I know that people, there's probably some people out there like, I don't care. Okay, I'm at 7, 7.5. I want if I can get low sixes, high fives, I'm good. But there's obviously a group of people out there that, hey, I don't want to be refinancing people 2 or 3 times because a lot of the mantra that you'll hear from mortgage people. Well, if we refinance here, we can always refinance in 6, 7, 8 months down the road, or 12 months down the road. I'd rather hopefully uh, get somebody positioned where they don't have to refinance again for a while. You know,
Yeah, because it costs you something every time, even though some people tell you that there's no cost. It does cost. They're just tacking it onto your loan. Here, I like Ernie's comment here. He goes, I really don't see this as nothing wrong with the market. Hi.
it's my processor,
Hi,
Sandy,
processor. How are you?
my lovely processor.
All right. And this is what happens from time to time when prices get elevated and interest rates go up. I like this market. I mean, it's harder for sellers. There's some areas where with a seller, I have to look at them and go, it's a lot tougher than you think it is out there, and trying to get them to understand that. I think for buyers, you got plenty of time. But then, if there's a very, and you've said this over and over again, Pat, if there's a very unique house you want it to be this big. It's got to have this big of a lot. It's got to have, an accessory dwelling unit in the back, and there aren't very many of them. You find them, you're probably not going to get them to reduce the price as much as you would hope. So you got to spring on that. But other than that, there's a lot of choices out there for you. We got large home builder profit margins are around 40% even in hard times. So it means homes are overpriced, said he. And Stark says, I worked for a home builder for 9 years. I've always wondered what their margin was.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
hefty.
that's a hefty margin. Yeah. And
Yeah,
you've got most investors right now that are buying and trying to flip a home. I mean, they're hoping for 6%.
yeah, yeah.
And it's hard for them to make that cash out right now. That's why you're seeing investor activity, go down. I mean, I get hit on my phone all the time. Rick, have you got any junk here? I gonna want to buy a house. Let me know. I got three today, and it's like, no, sorry, I don't. So, but they're not. It's not working out as well for them
Yeah,
to
yeah,
buy and flip a house. Now, the big investors, they're just moving to a different part of the country where it still works out. A lot of that's going on in the Midwest and the South for them, except for Texas. So
Yep, the low
Texas.
hanging fruit is it's tougher and tougher in this market. It's just definitely changed the last couple of years. It's definitely, the low hanging fruit is really the bloom has kind of gotten off the real estate market in terms of you can make just tons and tons of money. I mean, it's
I
just
pulled up a map, um, and if I want to look, it was on Cromford. I'm trying to get it to show up on the MLS here. But you think, wow, we don't have very many homes on the market, and then you look um, at the dots, and it's staggering. So I may be able to pull it up if I can find it, but it's let's see where are we at. Active listings, all city. Oh, I can't find it. Um, when prices are high, it's hard to flip. I did that too for many years in Phoenix. Yeah, it's, you know, look, 2021, it was golden, but even 2021, you're an investor trying to flip a home, you're out there beating it up with everybody and their brother. So it was even hard for you to try and find a home at that point.
yeah,
Um, so, but there were investors, and what was really ramping up 2020, 2021 was wholesalers.
yeah, yeah,
They'll put your house under contract and then sell the contract to somebody else for $15,000 more. Um, And Timmer says, I've heard that refi sweet spot's 2% less than where you're currently at. What do you think, Pat?
it's really on a case by case basis. Really, I mean, if you got $1 million home and you can reduce your rate from say 7.5 down to 6.5, you're going to save five, six, $700. If you're at, you owe, it depends on just how much you owe. It's just case by case. If you owe $100,000 on a house, there's a formula. I don't want to get into it, but basically, yeah, it just really run the numbers. If you could save, I'm not the type of guy where I'm going to call somebody and say, hey, I can save you 75 or $80 a month. It should be substantial enough where because typically, like I said, I talked a couple weeks ago, your refi costs are going to be title costs. They're going to be less than the purchase, when you purchase a home. But it really boils down to running the numbers. If your costs are going to be, let's say, $2,500 with title fees, a lot of people, you have to look at the title fees and the lender fees. I don't charge underwriting processing fees. There's banks, the retail banks will charge anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 in underwriting and processing fee. We don't have that. So obviously brokers are very competitive, but you're boiled. What if it costs you $3,000 and you're saving $300 a month? That's a 10-month repayment period. It's going to be obviously a lot different whether it's $150,000 loan or $650,000, $700,000 loan. So there's really no set rule per se. I think that's kind of a misnomer. If you just have to run the numbers. How much is it going to cost? What am I saving? What are going to be my costs? So there's no really sweet spot. It's case by case, loan by loan.
Well, there's always an average number. What does that really mean? Here is foreclosures pending. They're saying they went up. Well, not much. Right here, went up from a low this year of about 1,100 to 1,300. And now, if you compare that, I'll go to 2009. Whoop, there you are. Then the
Yeah,
rest of them are all way down here. So, so if you're waiting for a wave of foreclosures, you're waiting.
yeah, yeah, yep.
It's gonna, yeah. I don't make the rules. You're
Kind of
gonna
like the
be,
Crash Bros.
you're gonna be waiting.
So,
I,
well, by
I
the way, speaking of that, not to push myself, but I mean, obviously, if anybody would like to give me a call or send me an email, talk to you on the phone as far as just running numbers, no obligation. You got somebody else, great. If you want to compare anything, you've worked with me for several years. I don't try to high pressure people. I give them straight facts as far as what I love. I love being transparent. What to pull up that one, if you could pull up my chart that I've got up here. When I get people on the phone, I'll literally tell you, I'll tell you the rate stack. I'll show you behind the scenes. Okay, well, right now, here's your rate based on this. Here's my list of lenders that I can go to. Some lenders might be these lenders might be better than these lenders. So I look at the service, the speed, the rate, what we're getting, but I can run numbers and tell you, hey, this is what we've got. but I think people are going to have a chance the next month or two. I think rates will slide down a little bit further, but you just have to kind of be ready. Pick your target rate. Okay, at this rate, I'm going to save $300. I'll be happy with that. And because rates are really like a stock, they're just a live pricing every day. Rates are here. To go back a little further, you can get, say, I quoted 6.25. If rates went down and the cost was to get 6.25 was say $1,000, but if rates went down, that 6.25 might only cost you $500 or $400. So those are the intraday moves that you get. The rate might be the same, but you're going to get these intraday moves with the interest rates. Where before now, if rates go up, that 6.25 might cost you $1,500 to get that rate. So that's where they kind of get that. When you have a big spike in rates, when you get that 6.25 moving down to 6 1/8, that's a big day in the bond market typically. So, and you know me, I watch rates like I watch. It gets kind of ridiculous. I kind of get locked in a little bit too much, but my goal is to being a broker. You got choices. My goal is to shop for the client. I don't work for any one specific or any broker that anybody works with. They don't work for any specific bank, so they're not locked into any type of rates at all.
Well, will house prices come down between now and Christmas? It's looking like hardly, maybe 1%, just because that sales number is not falling off the roof. I mean, we still have a 3.6 month supply of homes, so you're going to have to be back up to 6 months supply of homes for us to really see, average and median sales prices start to come down. So right now, watch the existing inventory and see if it starts to accelerate, or is it just kind of taking a slow seasonal move upward, which it appears to me that's what we're watching and seeing. So I think for those hoping that Q4 we're going to see a real decrease in prices, I don't see it. Now, when you get into January, everybody's optimistic in January. It's a new year. It's a new feel. It's the weather's perfect here in Arizona. Let's list the house because people are going to come in. Snowbirds are showing up. And then in February, we always have the highest number of price reductions. Now, I don't know where rates are going to be in January. I don't know how that's going to affect sales. How much further from our floor of 2,600 per week are we going to move away from that and move up? Those are all the numbers you got to look at. And then again, it all boils down to, months of supply as well that you see here. This is going back to 2022, and we hit a peak here of 5 months supply at the end of January in 2025. There was a lot of optimism starting out this year.
Yeah.
More so than I'd ever seen. Everybody was saying it was going to be good. Here we go. 2025. Remember? 4 to 6 rate cuts.
Yeah.
So everybody listed their house. What happened? We climbed to 5 months supply. Now reality set in. We're at 3.6.
Yeah. That pretty much sums everything up.
Tim says maybe it's just time to buy an all-in-one camper and travel. Tim, there's a spot right right in front of me here. So come on up. So I'll be back probably in a couple weeks. I'm literally just winging it. I get, but I'll tell you, and I know you're not going to want to hear this, but fall is in the air up here.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
I'm at the far tip of Washington State, and the fog's been rolling in. And you go down by the water, it's like, I should have brought a coat. So the leaves are changing. I'm kind of enjoying it. I haven't seen fall in a long time up close and personal like this. So it's nice to get away, but it's just a matter of time. And I've been able to get everything done while I'm gone as well, thanks to you guys. So it's working out pretty good. And
good.
Catching up a lot of old high school friends and just having a good old time. I'm going to be tomorrow night. There is a real estate team up here called the Brokers Group, and they're an older couple out of Sequim, Washington. And I've been looking to see who has a YouTube channel up here, and they're it. I mean, they could own their market if they do it. And they're so cute. They just sit outside. They got dogs running behind them, chickens, and they talk about the market. Well, they're having a function at their house, a meet and greet at their house tomorrow at 4:00 with a live stream at 4:15. I think they're going to live stream this event at their house, celebrating having 1,000 subscribers. So
how many do we have?
We have almost 9,000. So,
Good.
but it turns out they have worked with my dad. My dad was a broker up here. In fact, he made a comment on a comment that I made the other day. He goes, "Is Larry your dad?" I go, "Absolutely." Was my dad. He's passed, but so it's going to be fun to see them. They've got a house up on the hill that has a view of Canada and everything. So it's just going to be fun to go to the event and meet another YouTuber
Yeah.
and talk to him
Yeah.
about how well it's going for him. So, but this market, I was having lunch with a friend this morning, and he said, "Well, I don't know a lot about real estate," and I said, "Well, here's what I know about Port Angeles. It's a town of 20,000 people. And at one time in 2021, you only had 6 active homes for sale. 6. Imagine being a title rep or a realtor and you wake up in the morning going, that's it?
Yeah. That's
You
amazing.
know, and then that's at 7:30 in the morning. And by noon, maybe you only have 4.
7.
Yeah, that's a rough market,
Yeah,
my friend.
that's tough. Yeah. Oh God.
I
Anyway.
think you could do it. Well, Pat, I'm glad you're able to log on and entertain us as
Yeah.
always. And
Well, I think next week is going to be interesting. Like you said, looking at the rates, see them flow a little bit further. You never know. I mean, it's just going to be patience. Patience will tell. And once again, if anybody's got any questions, reach out to me. Be more than happy to talk to you. So
yeah, and use that QR code up in the corner, the link down below to ask for a zip code market report. I like putting them together for you. They're pretty comprehensive. And if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, I mean, come on, it's free.
yeah,
That link down below too. So I will see you next week, Pat. We'll see what happens, huh?
sounds good, buddy. Take care,
Thanks to
everybody.
our millions and millions of viewers out there. Take care.
Yeah, you got it.